Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Okay, so a top real estate CEO, an AI whiz, shares data showing America's housing market is significantly overvalued. The headline number may shock you. Of course, if you clicked on the thumbnail, you already know what he thinks.
Right. So he thinks that homes are greatly overvalued. By how much?
40% overvalued.
There you go. 40%. So what do you think? Are they overvalued by 40%? Drop us a comment and let us know.
Your 2-year estimate of home prices.
Yes.
Down 20, down 40, up 10. What are they?
Right.
We're going to read through this, a lot of stuff, and there's some charts in here, so don't leave because you like the charts. We did an article a year ago where they predicted home prices in a year, and the worst was a 20% decline, and then the best was like a 5 or 10% increase, and it basically is up like 0.7% aggregate index for the whole country.
Right.
So a lot of people missed it by quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is the guy that's quoted in the article. I got this off of, this is a Forbes article. Shocking as it seems, that's a view that should carry a lot of weight because it comes from one of America's top real estate sages. I don't know what the requirement is to be a sage nowadays.
Okay, so I can say that. Well,
What is it?
He did a really good job about as far as figuring out that the mortgage market was going to collapse back in 2007. So that's what makes him a sage.
Okay. Sean Dobson, founder and CEO of property powerhouse Amherst. For this writer, Dobson offers the best combination of on-the-ground proprietary data gleaned largely from his own business, plus a mastery of sophisticated analytics of anyone in the field. I don't know how this does it with AI, because none of this has to do with AI. Amherst manages $16.8 billion in capital for investors and ranks among America's largest owner of single-family homes for it, overseeing a portfolio of 44,000 residences across 32 metros, 19 states. Okay, his estimate was 40%. Okay, this is where he gets that from. Put the first chart up. This is the home price index growth. Now, what he's done is, this chart is misleading. The red line is current prices, and the black line is his estimate of what homes were worth. So what he did apparently was, if you go back to the housing crash, of course he said homes were overvalued. And then back in like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, he said they were undervalued. Really all the way up to like 2019, they were undervalued. So they were buying homes during this time, right? Then he said they basically flopped in like 2021. Now, if you can see the end of this chart's not today. It says current prices, but that does not mean today current prices, because 2025 is the end. Where we are is that second line from the right, where it shows that huge gap. That's the 40%. Doesn't look like 40%, but he's saying that's the 40% we're at right now. And then he's showing the cyclical up and down to all the way to 2025, and then the fundamental value. He's saying fundamental value of home prices will rise, but that the actual prices will go down.
Right. So, so look, he's using a couple metrics that on the surface make a lot of sense. So he's using interest rates, and he's using, what was the other metric that he was using? It was interest rates and
Wages.
And wages. Thank
Yeah.
you. It was interest rates and wages. So on the surface, that makes a lot of sense. But when you think about it a little bit further, you realize that the ecosystem of the housing market is much more complex than that.
Yep.
And, he's not keeping in mind a lot of other things. The way I would liken it is, it's like saying that, well, you can't get that much productivity out of this plot of land because my ox can't work that hard. And your response is, well, okay, but I'm using a tractor. So that's kind of the difference here. And what I mean by that is, because he's weighing those two pillars so heavily, he is missing so much of the complexity. So he's missing the fact that 42% of homes out there are free and clear. He's missing the fact that most people have a sub 4% loan. He's missing the fact that the working environment has fundamentally been changed. This whole work from home thing, it's not a fad.
Yeah.
Okay? This is here to stay. Now, is it here to stay everywhere? Of course not. but it is here to stay for the long term. So that means that those people that were stuck in an office for 40, 50, 60 hours a week before now are working from home. Not only that, but they're taking their wages that they were earning in an urban environment. So say a big city like maybe Chicago or New York or Boston.
San
Francisco, Los Angeles, maybe Dallas, maybe some other big urban area. And they've moved out of there. And they've moved someplace that makes them happy. They've moved someplace that gives them more space. And there maybe they're a 3-hour flight from their place of employment, that maybe they go to that place of employment maybe once or twice a month. So things have fundamentally changed. So people are willing to pay more because their homes are more than just their homes, right? They are here 24/7 because they work from home, they live at home. They're willing to pay more because now they've traded that office space for a work from home environment that gives them pleasure. So now they're willing to pay for that pool, that nice garden, that suburban neighborhood, whatever it is. So it's much more complicated than that.
Yep.
And besides work from home, there's just so much more to this complexity. But I'm just giving you a few examples that give you a better picture of why his view, while it's legitimate, it's outdated. It no longer fits the present scenario, the present circumstance. And I'm not saying that his view doesn't have value, but I'm saying that more things need to be considered.
Okay, here's another quote from the article. It's remarkable that even though mortgage rates rose sharply, people still aren't getting any discount on home purchases. Okay, discount. When he says discount, he's acknowledging less than market value. That's what a discount is. Mm-hmm. The entry point for the average consumer, also who's not most of our buyers right now, are not the average consumer. Buying a house isn't very attractive. Okay, two things in this that are really, really incredible. First of all, he says it's remarkable that even though mortgage rates are sharply, which means he was caught off guard. He wasn't paying attention to this. And I'm sure whoever the guy is super smart, but there has been this seismic shift that Juan had talked about. The other thing is, okay, imagine this. Your house is worth $400,000. Your next door neighbor sold it yesterday and got $400,000 cash. Some buyer comes to you and goes, hey, look, I work at this job and this is how much I make. And because the interest rates are up, I can only afford $1,600 a month payment. So you need to lower your price to $260. So I can afford it. And they were like, okay, well, what if in 6 months interest rates went back down to 3%? Then could you afford $400? Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, so you want me to sell you my house for $260 so that in 6 months, if interest rates drop, you can sell it for $400, put the money in your pocket. Basically, that's what he's saying. Here's the thing. Average people aren't buying houses. You have the higher earners that are buying houses. You have people with larger down payment buying houses. And you have institutional investors and other cash purchasers who are either investors or homeowners. That's really who's buying houses right now. Next chart, housing market inventory. Juana, he is acknowledging this is the they provided this data. This is from his company. Mm-hmm. This is the April housing market inventory by year, 2019 to today. It's pretty low. It
is, and and he acknowledges that. I think the terms he used was something along the lines that present homeowners with mortgage debt. That they may as well have burnt down the house because that house is never being sold because of their current low interest rate on their homes. So I thought, that was very telling. It's something that we've talked about a lot, that we have so much of this home inventory stock that is basically frozen. It is going to stay in those hands for forever and ever. It's going to be inherited, it's going to be turned into rentals, but it's not going to come back on the market as a home for sale.
Okay, here's another quote. This is completely fake. Lower rates accompanied by rising middle-class income should help stabilize home prices. That part's true. But a recession that lowers both incomes and rates won't do the trick. You need rates to go down and incomes not to go down to cure this problem, concludes Hobson. His "we escape the overvaluation problem" scenario hinges on avoiding a downturn that sends incomes crashing. The disaster movie A Rain's Possibility. We have the strongest labor market we've ever had. We still have 9 million unfilled jobs. Unemployment rate's 3.7%, literally the second lowest or third lowest month we've had in, I think, 50 or 60 years. The idea that incomes would quote unquote crash is absolutely not true. Incomes are not crashing. And even if your income declines, if you have, like Wanda said, if you have a 3%, $1,100 a month mortgage, you're not going to dump your house.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's a big consideration. And we've also talked about this before, that a recession does not necessarily mean that real estate prices go down. As a matter of fact, in most recessions, real estate prices go up, not down. As far as mortgage rates going down, if mortgage rates go down, prices will actually go up. So the reason prices will actually go up if mortgage rates go down is because of that whole affordability thing, where people are saying, hey, interest rates are down, I'm going to take advantage of it and I'm going to go out and buy a house, but so does everybody else. That leads to a lot more buyers coming in the market with a lot lower inventory. Remember, this does not cure inventory. So bringing more buyers in the market with lower interest rates does not mean that we're going to get more inventory. So if inventory does not increase to keep up with the demand of buyers, what happens? Supply and demand, prices go up.
The explanation, says Dobson, is basic. Families who benefited from the ultra-low mortgage costs over the past decade just won't move. When you're giving home buyers loans that are way below the fair market rate from a supply and demand perspective, you just burned down that house, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. It's gone from the market. Bargain homes loans have people trapped in their colonials and ranches, whether they want to be or not. Houses are arguably much too expensive, says Dobson. That's what you predict if you bring the supply down the supply that much. The wonder is people are buying them anyway, though not nearly as fast as 18 months ago. No, it's not a wonder. It's absolutely not a wonder. There's a huge pent-up demand to buy houses. People are missing supply and demand. Like Wanda said, people have left the cities. They've left their $4,000 a month, two-bedroom apartment in San Francisco, and they said, let's go and live somewhere else, either suburbs, let's move to the peninsula, let's go to Las Vegas, let's go to Phoenix, Austin, Miami, some other Tennessee. We'll continue to work remote. Even though we might make a little less money, for now, for $3,000 a month, we can buy an actual house and we can actually have a lot of stuff. And that completely changed the supply curve.
Right.
In real estate. It permanently changed the supply curve.
Right. And it permanently changed something else. People's desirability for a better quality of life. So they are no longer jam-packed in a high-density environment. They have more space, they have a garden, they have a pool, they have room to breathe. And this is a quality of life issue. And you see that a lot. A lot of people quote quality of life as one of the top 3 reasons why they're relocating, farther and farther away from where their jobs are. Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty obvious to me because we saw this. Mm-hmm. People leaving cities, coming to Vegas, to basically be able to live in an environment. The things that people told us when they were coming here was, it's fun, there's stuff to do, it's inexpensive, they don't have to pay California taxes. I'm sure people went to Texas for the same reason. I'm sure they went to Florida for the same reason. They went to Tennessee for the same reason. And, where has that left, for example, San Francisco? I think it's 11 major office towers have defaulted and are going back to the lender. There's some ridiculous number, like 14 million square feet of vacant office space. New York City has the same problem. They're attempting in New York City at least to convert that office space over to residential. I don't think we're ever going to see office space, at least anytime soon, used the way it is before. And I hate to say this because YouTube is going to probably get all pissed off and then promote our video. But when government started telling people, go to your house and don't leave, you can't go into an office, and people got tired of their little apartment, and they're like, you know what, the next time this happens, I'm not going to be in a little apartment in a city that can't do anything. So we invest in startups. We've invested in over 50. And one of the startups we invested in, the founder lived in San Francisco. And we got to hear for a year about how all he did was complain that he can't leave his apartment, and when he goes out, there's nothing to do. Everything's closed. He can't do anything. You know what he did? He went to LA County, and then he went to Miami. And he's like, I'm never going back. Because there's stuff to do here. We're not going to have the problems we had there. And if this ever happens again, I don't want to be in that position. And I think a lot of people have said, this could happen again. Mm-hmm. And I think that the market has shown, government has shown what they can do, state, local, and federal, and people have shown the freedom they have, and they've changed real estate, and we weren't prepared for it. But if you look at it, when did this happen? July of 2020. Think about it. What was going on in July 2020? There was nothing going on. People were leaving cities and buying houses and getting out of cities.
Right. So people vote with their feet and their wallets, and their feet have taken them to new locations where they have a better quality of life, and their wallets have followed.
This is not, last thing. When last time interest rates were below 6%, a long time ago, they went up to 18. It took 2 decades to get under 6. Mm-hmm. Okay? Guess what? Home prices went up the entire time, mm-hmm. even when interest rates were at 18%. Right. People demand housing. They just do. And we still have 1 house built for every 2 households formed. We're upside down anywhere from 6.5 to 9 million homes, residential houses. And you can see how that's affecting supply. We have outstripped supply with demand. And unless we solve the supply problem, and then people selling isn't going to solve it, because if someone sells, that means they're taking a huge amount of cash and buying somewhere else. And that, hourly worker is still not going to be able to beat out a cash purchaser.
Well, the other thing that's going to happen if somebody sells, they may go ahead and take that chunk of money and split it between more than 1 house. And so now they're taking up 2 houses or more.
Yeah.
So that is a consideration as well. As far as people moving to Vegas, people who moved to Vegas, what did you get for your troubles? Well, the women's NBA team, they were champions last year. The Golden Knights hockey team were Stanley Cup winners this year. Look, Vegas
Raiders will win next year.
Yes, Raiders will win
Oakland
next year.
A's will win the World Series the next year.
There you go.
Whatever NBA team we get will probably win.
Absolutely. We have Super Bowl coming, so Vegas still rocks, people. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Vegas rocks. All right.
All right. What did you think of the video? I know.
Sorry it was so long.
Yeah, sorry it was so long. Please leave us a note. Tell us where you're watching from. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We appreciate it when you subscribe. If you are a new subscriber, please tell us that you're a new subscriber and tell us where you're watching from. Please share the video. We would love to grow our subscriber base, and we need your help to do that. Your recommendations to others mean a lot, and we appreciate you recommending us to others. Leave us notes. Please be kind to one another in the notes, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.